Hello, friends and colleagues. Welcome to episode 2 of Mind Futures 2, my channel. My name is Dr. Marcus T. Anthony, and I'm an associate professor of foresight and strategy here in southern China at a university I won't mention, simply because this video channel is not actually part of my courses, although it covers a lot of what is in my courses. Two of them. One is called Artificial Intelligence and the Future of the Mind, and the other one is called Making Sense of the Digital Society. So there's quite a bit of overlap in those two. So what you see in these videos covers quite a bit of those things. Well, thanks very much for the feedback from video number 2, and I will have a green screen on the way. It's in the mail. Also a better camera coming up. If you have any feedback, just leave it in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share. Okay, by the way, I should mention that a lot of the content in this video series actually comes from a book of mine which will be out in 2023. The book is called Power and Presence, Reclaiming Your Authentic Self in a Weaponized World. It's actually all about finding our way in the digital society, where so much of what we think and feel is actually being mediated through technologies. Keep an eye out for that book on Amazon. So, what is MemeWorld? Well, MemeWorld is a term that I use to describe online and virtual worlds in the current age. And I use it not in exactly the same way that people might use terms like the digital society or Web 2.0, because what I'm really saying when I use the term MemeWorld is that it's not quite real. And many of us tend to mistake the online world for the real world and fail to understand the distinctions, and the very important distinctions between what we see and perceive online and the way it's delivered to us and the world that, say, our ancestors perceived the world, which was mostly through the 5 senses or through their intuitive understanding. The reason I use the term meme in MemeWorld is because memes are popular and oversimplified ideas or images or narratives that we find on the internet. And much of what we see and understand now is being reduced to memes. And that's important because memes are not real. They are not the real world. They are representations, and they're often distorted by the agenda or the biases of those who are delivering the memes to us. And it's important to understand that MemeWorld is where you stand right at this moment as you listen to these words. So, how did we get here? Well, most of us landed on MemeWorld several years ago, this virtual planet where memes stand in place of the real world. For the most part, we did not deliberately navigate towards these shores. Our billowing sails instead caught in the gale forces of postmodern history. Nonetheless, here we are. And now it's time to take stock of things and identify the 10 most prominent features of MemeWorld, this wide, memetic land upon which we now stand. Number 1, the blurring of virtual and real worlds. Even as mobile technology, the Internet of Things, and deepfakery have come to saturate MemeWorld, it's becoming harder to distinguish what is true and what's not. Memes often usurp fact, and the way that a person or problem is projected via image and narrative on the Internet tends to overpower the reality of what that person or problem really is. Number 2, disinformation and misinformation abound, as do bad faith actors. Disinformation is deliberate deception, while misinformation is sharing false information or misleading information that we don't realize is faulted. It's fake news, as an unmentionable gentleman once lamented, who also told a few little fibs himself. Okay. Number 3, the rise of online tribes. So public discourses are tending to split into memetic tribes, each with their own sacralized and forbidden values, cultures, heroes, allies, and enemies. Deep questions are carefully moderated within these sacralized spaces. For example, in the US, the blue and red tribe dichotomy now features multiple memetic tribes, as Lindbergh and Barnes outlined in their 2018 Medium article called The Memetic Tribes of Culture War 2.0. Roughly aligned with the blue tribe are groups like the establishment left, social justice activists, Black Lives Matter, Me Too, neo-Marxists, and far-left radicals like Antifa. While, aligned with the red tribe are the establishment right, Benedictines, Christian right, Trumpists, info warriors, the alt-right, and so on. Number 4, computational warfare. Our advanced technologies of communication are now being turned into effective weapons, where various parties battle for control of our minds, harnessing bugs, bots, and bad faith actors. These competing groups include political parties, major industries and corporations, big tech, first world and rogue nations, and terrorist organizations. And if that isn't enough, the media and political parties fight over the rules for the right to frame the narrative. Number 5, surveillance capitalism. The internet is a place where you can make a fast buck or a fast billion. Leviathan-like tech giants slash and burn their way through cyberspace as they track every move for our advertisers, trailed by the wagons of influencer frontiers folk, who are in turn being circled by cyber currency-wielding cowboys. The bedazzled others are just there for the ride, or the cat videos. Our online worlds show little inclination towards disinvesting from an imbalanced capitalist worldview, as Shoshana Zuboff has written in her book, The Age of Surveillance Capitalism. At first glance, much of MemeWorld looks free, but if you aren't being billed, you are the product, as Tristan Harris noted. Knowledge is now a commodity to be bought and sold, while the news is often a form of entertainment. As Neil Postman noted in his book, Amusing Ourselves to Death, way back in the early 80s. Unreliable gatekeepers, number 6. Often the information overlords and fact-checkers are themselves compromised. It's easy to label something true or false, but it's also easy to blur these categories, because context and framing matter. Even Google has to develop their algorithms to favor certain values and ideas over others. Further, making source codes open to the public is not difficult, as Bill Ottman's Minds platform has shown. So, why does most of big tech secret their algorithms from the public? Number 7, confusion and the distortion of trust. As the disjunction between screen-mediated reality and the physical world increases, our sense of trust in our approved sense-making systems is changing. On the one hand, many netizens are becoming increasingly paranoid amidst fear of the stealthy hand of control and censorship. Conspiracy theories and distorted grand narratives abound. Ideas such as David Icke's claim that Saturn is an interdimensional portal used by aliens seem crazy to outsiders, but few of us, including those in mainstream establishment discourses, are immune from quasi-religious distortions of reality. After all, memes that pretend that the patriarchy, Nazis, or the Koch brothers control the world are faith-based, gross oversimplifications of the problems we face. Conversely, many meme-worlders simply give up on the onerous task of sense-making and choose to blindly believe their tribal information sources, even as uncertainty, ambiguity, and critical discernment are the more justified attitudes. Many netizens now surrender much of their thinking faculties to authority because the required cognitive capacity for sense-making has become too difficult. Trust the science, or just trust God. We get both kinds of truth, and not much in between. Now, I'm not saying don't trust science or God, if that's your preferred process of making meaning, but I'm saying be wary of those behind the big red curtain telling you what science or God is really saying. Number 8, pervasive hyperbole. When problems and issues are represented and discussed across MemeWorld, they are often exaggerated via emotional loading of image and language. In other words, sensationalized. Two driving forces here are media and web content creators who know that fear and loathing get clicks. And secondly, there is human negativity bias. We're wired to notice and respond to potential threats, but not to states of relaxed gratitude for the gifts that we've been given. And we've been given many. The hyperbolic structure of MemeWorld means that it's very difficult to tell just how big or serious any given behavior, event, or problem really is. A good example of this occurred in 2017 when a Yahoo News headline screamed, In Trump's America, an immigrant is deported for running a red light. However, a reading of the article revealed that the case involved an illegal immigrant who had been deported after running a red light, whereupon the police discovered his illegal status. He was deported for the latter offence. The case had nothing to do with Donald Trump. And below, at the bottom of the page, Republicans and Democrats scratched each other's eyes out. Number 9. Inconspicuous absences. Meanwhile, other ideas, narratives, and entire phenomena are partially or entirely absent from MemeWorld. Absences vary from one tribal space to another, mediated by worldviews and paradigms, personal, political, systemic, or organizational biases, or simply because the algorithms ignore them, deliberately or otherwise. Alternatively, we only see these missing things in fiction, such as in Star Wars when Luke Skywalker uses enhanced intuition, the Force, to navigate his way through life. Why is such a commonly experienced intuitive sense almost entirely absent from the news and opinion reports of mainstream information sources and related concepts downplayed by Google and Wikipedia? Number 10. Disembodiment and diminishment of intuitive wisdom. We stare outwards at screens more than we look within ourselves, more than we listen to our bodies and our psyches. This is leading to a loss of somatic wisdom, body wisdom. There is typically insufficient inner-directed attention by individuals and tribes, as chronic projection at outgroups undermines self-reflection. Increasingly, our inner voices are implants, conditioned beliefs and talking points that are not actually our own, as Elon Musk wryly observed recently. So, there's our 10 features of MemeWorld. Though there's some overlaps, these features now clearly distinguish MemeWorld from the physical world and its social systems, and especially from the world as our ancestors experienced it. As time goes on, that degree of differentiation will likely increase further. We stand at the edifice of an augmented virtual reality, one driven by a surveillance capitalism imbued with a pervasive artificial intelligence. Moreover, this is a world increasingly populated by bad faith actors trying to squeeze a buck from us or turn us against each other. Our arrival on MemeWorld leaves us in genuine danger of completely losing our authentic selves, only to become chess pieces in a game of power and control played by our machine masters. So, how do we get out of this mess and create more desirable futures? That will be the subject of upcoming videos, and as I'm planning, discussions with wise minds out there in the metaverse and beyond. So that's all for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and share with others. Join me again soon with more about minds, machines, and meaningful futures. Bye for now.